Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down complex ideas and declare actionable insights.
Today, we're jumping into a truly game-changing book, Eric Ries's The Lean Startup. This is the method that basically reshaped how we think about building and launching new things, shifting the whole process from just pure guesswork to an actual science.
This quote right here, this is the single most terrifying question for anyone trying to create something new. And it's the very question that pushed Ries to find a better way. Because, the biggest waste of time and money isn't building something inefficiently. It's building something perfectly that absolutely no one will ever use.
Okay, so to really get the lean solution, we first have to totally bust the myth it was designed to replace. That popular but really dangerous story of how great companies are supposed to be born.
We've all seen the movie version, right? The lone genius has a sudden flash of inspiration, locks themselves away for months, and then, bam, a huge launch, and everyone loves it. But in the real world, that build it and they will come strategy is the #1 reason startups fail. The lean startup throws that whole story out the window and replaces it with a process that's actually grounded in reality.
So, if that whole lone genius approach is just a recipe for disaster, what's the alternative? Well, the lean startup offers a really practical solution. It's a scientific process for dealing with extreme uncertainty, and it's all built around one elegant core idea.
And this is it. This is the engine of the whole system, the build, measure, learn feedback loop. The entire goal is to race through this loop as fast as you possibly can. You build a really simple version of your idea, you measure how real customers react to it with actual data, and then you learn from that data to decide what to do next. It's all about accelerating your learning and minimizing wasted effort.
Now here's the crucial part. The goal of this loop isn't just to build features, it's to achieve something called validated learning. This isn't just some feel-good term for when you fail. No, it's the tough process of proving with cold, hard data which parts of your grand vision are actually brilliant, and which parts are, well, just a delusion.
And this whole way of thinking, it comes straight from Toyota's car factories. Their lean manufacturing process proved that working in small, fast batches lets you spot and fix quality problems way sooner. The exact same principle applies to startups. You run small, quick experiments so you don't build an entire car only to find out at the very end that the engine doesn't work.
So this brings up a really important question. How do you actually get this learning loop started as quickly as possible? The answer is something called a minimum viable product.
Okay, so a super common mistake is thinking an MVP is just a buggy, stripped-down product, but that really misses the point. An MVP is simply the fastest experiment you can possibly run to test a core idea about your business. The whole goal is maximum learning from minimum effort.
And seriously, some of the most successful companies out there started this way. For Zappos, the MVP was just pictures of shoes. The question was simple: would people even buy shoes online? For Dropbox, it was just a video explaining the idea. The question: did people actually want this? And Groupon, it was a simple blog. Each one was designed to answer one critical question before they wasted time building anything complicated. All right, so you've built your MVP, data's coming in, but to learn the right things, you have to measure the right things. And that means avoiding the really seductive trap of looking successful without actually making any real progress. The book draws this really sharp line between what it calls vanity metrics, like total downloads or page views, stuff that makes you feel good but doesn't tell you anything, and actionable metrics. Actionable metrics are different. They show clear cause and effect, proving that a change you made actually led to a specific result. They tell you what's really driving growth.
But what happens when your validated learning, that real, hard data, tells you that your entire strategy is, well, just plain wrong?
You execute a pivot. Now, a pivot isn't admitting you failed. Far from it. It's a courageous, strategic shift you make based on what you just learned from your customers. Think of it like changing your direction while keeping one foot planted in everything you've already built and learned.
Rise's own company, IMVU, is the classic example here. They launched thinking people wanted to use avatars with their existing friends. The data came back and said, nope, completely wrong. But they also learned that customers loved a little side feature for meeting strangers. So they pivoted. They threw out the old idea and became a standalone social network. And that pivot is what saved the company.
So when you get right down to it, the lean startup completely reframes what entrepreneurship is. It's not about a single flash of genius. It's about being a disciplined manager, a scientist. Success isn't about having the perfect plan from day one. It's about having the best process to discover that plan.
So the key takeaway really comes down to this one question for you. The lean startup method forces you to be brutally honest about your ideas. It asks, how are you actually testing your assumptions to make sure you're not just wasting your time, to make sure you're building something that truly matters?